Joining us now to discuss the crypto markets is the CEO and co-founder of Bitcoin platform Unchained, Joe Kelly. Welcome, Joe.
Hey, y'all. Good morning. Great to be here.
Glad to see you. So what's your reaction here on the June CPI number coming out? A little better than expected, a little bit lower than we're getting almost close to 2, aren't we?
Yeah, I'd say on the one hand, it's a relief. I pay attention to folks like you who want to, I think, predict further rate hikes, and I think that can make me uncomfortable. Unchained as a business straddles Bitcoin as a market, which in general, in a real sense, for many of our clients, things like these interest rate hikes don't affect them. But we're also a lender, we're a dollar lender, so cost of capital going up, lending rates, that does affect our business and does affect our clients on the borrowing side. So. I'm certainly, I would like interest rates to stay where they're at and come down over time. Once again, I think that's better for our business. But yeah, at least for waking up for what the news brought this morning was a pleasant surprise.
Hey, man, I'm a net borrower all the time, so I feel it. I understand. That's just so,
all the more capital buy Bitcoin with, right?
Yeah, that's a different story, though, and my accountant's always upset. So, we saw this spike up to 30,000 a few weeks ago, of course, with the Bitcoin ETF filing by iShares. Do you think this is, I don't know, a little bit more excitement than is due?
I don't know. I think it's just enough to kind of keep what kind of hope and future anticipation kind of in a reasonable range. I think it's nice to see Bitcoin not really gyrating around too much. It's nice to see it be a relatively stable asset. I don't know what it's kind of implied volatility right now compared to the rest of the market and other assets, but I'd say it's probably very good, or in some sort of top quartile in terms of very reasonable range that it's in. I think a lot of the context I know myself and other Bitcoin market participants are thinking of is next year in the halving. And there's kind of a cold spring effect, I can imagine. Just kind of a... Go ahead.
You think the halving will have an effect?
It almost certainly has historically. I heard the astrology comment earlier, and I totally understand that feeling and that sentiment. And look,
this is beyond astrology. This is almost... This is fortune telling. This is.
You can, and I'm there. Look, as a rational human, I am, but I'm also. You look at kind of empirically what's happened historically, and so it's kind of like, well, why wouldn't you have a little bit of odds? Or why wouldn't you at least up your odd a little bit that like something like the halving has some effect, either market psychology or like some fundamental supply, the quantity that's coming to market. So. Yeah, I think I know ourselves and a lot of the industry, there's kind of some preparation, some mindset towards next year, and a lot of stars that might align between interest rate rises ceasing and just kind of things being set up for a really exciting year next year.
I feel like the market narrative right now is kind of confusing because if I'm correct, Bitcoin's up something like over 80% year to date, right? Like it's up a lot. But it still feels pretty wintry, to be honest. Like it just doesn't feel that buoyant at all. You look at exchange volumes around the world, exchanges look pretty stagnant, like kind of everywhere, not seeing a lot of new users. So like, what's going on and who's buying this Bitcoin anyway? Like, cause like, I feel like I don't know any of them, so it's just a bit of a confusion.
You mean it's not you, Emily?
You're just trying to say, people are afraid of wash trading. People are getting more afraid of wash trading is what she's trying to say.
My point is that 80% year to date is a very impressive figure, right? And then you have all these spot Bitcoin ETFs, and you have so there's some momentum in parts of the market, but then it really feels like there's a lot of tumbleweed in other parts of the market, So I guess I don't know, who's buying all this Bitcoin? Where's this coming from? What's driving Bitcoin's momentum right now?
I think I actually inverted a little bit, and I look at who's holding the Bitcoin and who's not selling. So there's a quantity you can find, which is that 70% of all Bitcoin hasn't moved in a year or more, and that statistic or that range. It's kind of it dipped out 55, 57% in 2017.
But why would the price be shooting up that much though? If people are just holding it and not selling?
I think just to the degree the the sell-off kind of ceased in Q4, and then like there weren't as many net sellers as there was, and then but like the same buying volume, or maybe there's an uptick in some buying volume, and that just sort of had an amplification on the price. And so, yeah, I think from what we see, at least as a business, and the kind of clients we work with tend to be the long-term holders that aren't so much speculating on the asset, but like kind of have a stash, continually add to it, and that I think that effect and that constant buying pressure when there are so few sellers, like, really does help. And that's why I think Bitcoin does perform a little bit differently than stocks or other things, because there's so much attachment, there's so much kind of long-term belief, and seeing it as a multi-generation asset instead of maybe an individual stock or security.
All right, Joe, and lastly on the topic of Bitcoin, Unchained has just launched a new membership-based service that aims to help high net worth individuals, institutions, corporations manage their Bitcoin. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up. It's really an extension of what we're kind of talking about here in terms of the long-term clients that work with Unchained, and even new clients that are looking for advanced levels of expertise, access to our team, which is some of the best minds in Bitcoin about how it works technologically, best ways to secure it. And that's just kind of a need that's always there in the market. Bitcoin is confusing to a lot of people that haven't spent a lot of time studying it. And even for people that have studied it, there's still things they don't know. It's really trying to find good fits for those people that can provide them the expertise and even like community that they want. They want to find like-minded individuals that believe in Bitcoin the same way they do.
Joe, thanks so much for joining the show this morning.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
That was Unchained CEO and co-founder Joe Kelly.